But here is what God showed me. Pharaoh refused to let God's children worship him. During Operation #Runny Nose, the pharaohs of our time shut down everything, even our churches. During a time when nations should have been lamenting and seeking God, they closed the churches so that we could not gather together and worship our God just like in Egypt. Interesting, yeah? Why do you think that is? Well, just as we have been outlining here about how fear has been used throughout the ages to get people to bow and to succumb to governments, kings, hierarchies, and let's not forget various governments have used fear as a tactic to move its citizens into doing what they want for their selfish gain. Going back to the time of this thing I have tagged Operation #Runny Nose, when the propaganda game was in full force and every tactic of the fear playbook was instituted, and there was no let up for over a year. Here's how they did it with Operation #Runny Nose. Churches closed, people told to stay in their houses. They can't go to gather and worship God. Those kings and pharaohs, those that you all have voted in to be the lords over you and abandoning God just as the children of Israel did, electing rather to have a man rule over you. You think you learned since you see how that worked out for Israel. One wicked king after another, one wicked president, mayor, governor, etc. after another. So close the churches and keep those who were seeking to worship the Lord, their God, from him, and instead force them to depend on the politicians, the doctors, the lawyers, and abandon your faith in him who has given you life. I wonder how many people died more because of the fear of the disease and what could happen than any sickness itself. Luke chapter 21, verse 26.
Men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken.
For over a year, many were barricaded in their homes, afraid to go outside because of the tactics that were implemented to keep its citizens in bondage, while many of them that implemented these outlandish rules were caught partying like it was 1999 and 2020. For over a year, this is all people heard, saw, and talked about. Another example of the Jedi mind trick in action. Repetition. There wasn't a media outlet, a doctor's office, a grocery store, a billboard, a commercial advertisement, and even our cell phone, television, and computer were bombarded with reports, stories, warnings, and images of everything Operation #Runny Nose. I mean, you really had to be prayed up, filled with the Holy Ghost, and sitting at the feet of Jesus not to buy into this constant bombardment of fear messages of you or someone that was surely about to kick the bucket. And of the few churches that were open, many were also buying into and cashing in on the propaganda game. One church I saw on television had representatives from Walgreens in the lobby of their church talking about they were there to help you because they care. Has Walgreens ever cared about us in our communities? We've had many crises, like our neighborhoods now. These people care so much they are shutting down locations left and right in our neighborhoods. So why do you think they were there this time? The death counter. Whenever you turned on your cell phone, remember they had a count of how many people supposedly died every day from Operation #Runny Nose. It's like death was constantly following you. They wanted you to fear for your life. That way, you felt like you needed something or someone to protect you from the angel of death, as one such mayor called it. However, all it was pumping and priming you for their big payday. I'm not sure if you heard of this thing called the Worldometer, but it was used to keep you abreast of the real-time world statistics of the number of people sick and preferably dying from #Runny Nose. CV cases, 696,387,988. Deaths, 6,924,812. Recovered, 668,331,729. So by my calculations, that's over 21 million people unaccounted for. Go figure. The mask, gloves, Lysol, and hand sanitizer movement. Who knew such common everyday household items could be so strategically used to incite fear in an individual? These people under the influence of Satan played everybody like a fiddle. Remember the debates about whether Trump said drinking or injecting bleach would cure it? Another play at misdirection, no doubt, to get you looking over there when you should be looking right at them. Crazy. These people surely got paid. These items were selling out everywhere. Shaming. According to Webster, shaming is the act or activity of subjecting someone to shame, disgrace, humiliation, or disrepute, especially by public exposure or criticism. It's also described as an unpleasant self-conscious emotion often associated with negative self-evaluation. Motivation to quit and feelings of pain, exposure, distrust, powerlessness, and worthlessness. Shaming by saying it's your duty for the safety of others to stay inside, wear a mask, and ultimately force you to become a test dummy. Then, when you were caught in public without a mask, or you were found to not have conformed by being a crash test dummy, you were called out in public and ostracized and ultimately blamed for the reason the disease was spreading and for there being so many variants. When the truth behind something mutating is if you don't kill it, it will only come back stronger. So playing around with the disease and you don't kill it with the supposed Band-Aid, it just mutates as a way to get around it, and ding ding, there is your variant. So the mutation of this tactic, called shaming, leads to another tactic called the us or them scenario. When you listen to yourself saying it, it all sounds silly, but when you actually put it into the right petri dish, the result is fear on steroids. I asked God, how is it that these people could be so strategic with planning something like this? I just couldn't wrap my head around it. Imagine these people could barely tie their shoes, Lord. Look at the state of the country. And God said, you're looking at flesh and blood, when it is the spirit behind them that's doing it. And that spirit is Satan. I mean, he is the father of lies, and using deception and manipulation and fear to put people in bondage and creating strongholds in the minds and hearts of people. Then take away that one lifeline, God. Who do you have left to listen to? The propheliers. This is why God continues to call those who don't have a relationship with him to the mat, because those who knew their Redeemer lives, to us it was just business as usual. Actually, for me, I proclaimed I was going to be blessed during Operation #Runny Nose, and I was, and God knows. Never sick, never took it, because I have been made whole by that precious blood of the unblemished Lamb. Amen. Learn from this, because they are back with a remix this year and probably every year to follow. All they need is for Diddy to make an appearance with Biden and get him wearing his hat turned backward. I mean, celebrities, fashionable, in crowd, I got mine, you got yours. Did you get the latest one? The doctors with the trust us. The churches, yes again. Even various supposed men of God were employed to try to get their parishioners to lay down their trust in God and put hope in man and his solutions. It was shameful, and even worse are those that fell for it. And here it is, October 2024, and they are at it again, telling us we need to take the stab. But other groups don't, as if they're immune to any type of regulation, just in time for the pagan tradition known as the celebration of Halloween. And here they go again, asking, trick or treat. There was one such time that I feared, and this is another reason for my gratitude to the Lord. Yes, I feared what God had showed me in 2 dreams concerning someone I care for greatly. I was afraid if I said it, I would be giving life to it, so I kept it to myself. This fear kept me from speaking what I know now were words of warning to someone who was facing a life and death situation. And had God not opened my mouth and had not forced me to speak what thus saith the Lord, that person who ended up passing may have left here without first receiving salvation, as those dreams were foretelling their passing, and they're going to eternal darkness. The devil was banking on my fear to keep me quiet so that this person's soul would be lost. But God loved this person enough and me to not let my fear and ignorance stop what he purposed for this person, salvation. This is another major reason why fear is nothing to play with. In this month of October, as it is every year, images of fear are scattered all over this modern-day Egypt, as homes, businesses, schools, etc. are being decked out with images of zombies, witches, ghosts, skeletons, demons, dragons, and even peppered here and there will be the images of some of your favorite characters for some of your favorite horror films, such as Jason, Freddy Krueger, Ghostface, the clown from It, and let's not forget Michael Myers, just to name a few. We also get to pig out on candy and popcorn as we curl up to watch some of our favorite scary movies. But to someone totally sold out for Jesus, even this I can't help but to turn even this into a teaching moment for the kingdom of heaven. Don't hate, it's just the Jesus in me. And this 6-part series entitled, Oh, the Horror, we will look at the agenda that is at work in these time-honored traditions. You will see how these films get you to embrace fear in a way that opens the doors to other spirits, and that door isn't Jesus, as is written in John chapter 10, verses 7 through 10. Then said Jesus unto them again,
Verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture. The thief cometh not, but for to steal, and to kill, and to destroy. I am come, that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly.
However, the door that they speak of is actually Satan, as is written in John chapter 10, verse 1.
Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber.
After supping on these episodes by the renewing of your mind, I guarantee you'll never look at these horror films the same way again. Romans chapter 12, verse 2. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. I pray ye be not deceived.